So we are going to dive into the Hellbound campaign and see what happens. The Resistance. They call me Hellgore, the last of my race. Somehow humans revive me as a weapon against the demons invading Earth, the same bastards that massacred my people. They are sending me back to Hell, my planet. My mission, to destroy the ancient pillars at the core, killing off the teleportation system connecting both worlds. I like the fact, too, that the weapons don't look like normal weapons. You could tell they're inspired by weapons, but they definitely go with the rest of, like, the world. They're very organic and demonic looking. Holy crap, you move. Holy shit, you move fast. Like, no joke, it is. Woo! It's like you're on speed and Red Bull. I appreciate the level design, though, because, yeah, you can go fast, but you need to do it intelligently. You gotta think before you do, which is really, really good. So it is a lot of skill on shooting, but also on how you move. Now, I will say from the art style is definitely nostalgic of the 90s, but a lot of stuff still doesn't feel very sharp or in focus, and maybe that's because it's part of the art style. But my eyes are naturally having a hard time trying to focus in on what I need to. You know, certain details and stuff, because it feels kind of blurry or kind of muddied in a way. And you have melee too. Looks like he didn't quite make it. Oh, juicy. Oh. That's cool. I really like that. And it do be nasty. It is a nasty gun. It's one you don't take home to your parents, you know what I mean? So I love the music. The music gets you pumped up, right? The weapons are fun to use so far. Definitely have an impact. The art style is very cool. Again, looking at the skybox, the planets in the distance on fire, all the different architecture and stuff is very cool.
Crusher.
Woo! Chunky! Who likes their chunky soup? Oh, shit. Alright. Oh, you know there are gonna be enemies when we get to this.
Hell damage.
Alright, so what we have is hell damage, so it's a boost. We're all shielded up. So we have these basic shields, and the shields with the horns are the ones that give us what looks like the most shielding, or a lot more shielding. Just like the hearts, there are smaller ones and then much fuller ones for more health. That's also a very nice little touch. Nice little visual touch there. So some of the audio kind of spikes depending on what's going on. And some things will get really loud and then kind of back down to normal. Okay, the music seems to be pretty fine, but the sound effects keep kind of spiking depending on what you're doing, what you're going through. So sometimes certain elements are louder than others, and it could be just a mixing thing. So that scared me for sure. Enemies spawning right in front of me. And that was good planning by the devs too. Put something shiny here for the player to go to. I was like, oh, well, if I'm not spawning anything in right now, not triggering anything, then maybe I can get this ammo. And all of a sudden, right there. See, we're all just hanging out on a nice, chill, lo-fi sort of Saturday here today. By the fire of skulls and blood and ash. Just enjoying the peaceful music in our surroundings. It's lovely. Leroy Jenkins!
Hell skin.
Yeah, so the problem that happened there with me, well, besides having a shit ton of enemies, it's so easy to get caught on the environment. Like, look at this. I should be able to back up, but because of these little spikes here, it actually stops me from backing up. That's interesting too. The enemy's aggro range is kind of weird. You notice that? Some of the enemies just kind of hang. You could be attacking them, but they won't attack you. Oh boy. I'm gonna need you to stop. Oh, hell no. No, 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 no. No. Oh. Holy shit, there's so many of them. Well, there we go.
This is how we die.
Now, this creature looks cool. There we go. I would say the music is pumping. It hits hard. It hits like a ton of bricks. It definitely fits with the violence of the game and with the momentum that the game has so often. I will say, though, that it does get a bit repetitive. I would have loved to hear a larger variety of tracks, but I like it for what it is. It's good. You know, it's fun. It's energetic. It gets you going. Again, it just fits the vibe. Everything from the UX UI to the animations to the little voiceovers, everything it nods in a hardcore sense to 90s FPS shooter. It was fun. It was energetic. It was hectic, chaotic a lot of times. You could definitely see where the influences came from. Duke Nukem clearly, Doom clearly, as well as Serious Sam. I like the concepts of having that platforming there, having the many different layers or levels, enemies coming in from anywhere and everywhere. They did a good job with jump scares as well, knowing that people are high-strung and they're charging through, and then suddenly an enemy comes around the corner, and you're like, oh my god, right? At times, I was getting dizzy, not so much from motion or motion blur, because I have that turned off, but from the graphics themselves, because it is lower res, trying while I'm popping around to pinpoint enemies, and their movement helped at times, but a lot of times because they were the same color as the background, or very similar, it was hard to pinpoint them. And then also just trying to strain my eyes to try to see more clear definition. The shooting felt solid. It felt fun, felt good. I liked the variety of weapons and when you got them, I thought fit very well. There were some issues with audio. The mixing of the audio. Certain things were way louder than they should have been. Some of the voiceover from the main character was way too loud. Some other random sound effects too were just way too loud. Others not loud enough at times. There were times where enemies felt like they were right on top of you because it sounded like they were on top of you, but they were actually far away. And other times where enemies were on top of you and you couldn't hear them. You didn't get the proper notifications. I appreciated the puzzles and the different activation points and everything to get to the next location. And they had a decent array of enemies. They were simple enough to pick up on their nuances or on their patterns, but it was tough enough when you start layering them all together. They all kind of filled in each other's weaknesses, so it became a lot tougher as you went up against a group of various enemies. There were some points that were a little frustrating because I felt like the communication from the developer to the player could have been a little more, what do I want to say, a little more defined. Like certain points weren't very clear on how you have to interact with something to get another piece moving, so it ended up tripping us up a little bit. But overall, it's a hell of a lot better than anything I could have done. But it was good, and it was fun. And in the end, that's all that really matters for these type of games, too. The story's not going to blow minds. It's a very simple story. But it was fun, and it was interesting enough, and I appreciate that as well. I would give it a 7 out of 10 for what it's worth. Again, it's pretty arbitrary. In my head, a 7 out of 10 seems right.